Welcome to Leap, guys. My name is Kathy, and I will be your host for today. Thank you so much for joining and submitting questions. If you came from the first part, we hope you enjoyed it, and I gained a lot of valuable insight. So some webinar etiquette to begin us off. Please mute your audio, and we are recording this webinar. So if you aren't comfortable with your camera on, feel free to keep it off. If you guys have any urgent questions throughout the webinar, please put it in the chat box. Panelists and Leap execs will hopefully answer them. But otherwise, please save your questions until the end for the Q&A session, where panelists can verbally answer your questions. So a huge thank you to Pearson Canada for sponsoring this Tuesday Talk series. They have a lot of useful digital study tools and resources that you'll use during first and second year. So make sure you follow them on their social media to get study advice, post-secondary tips from other students, and join their student community. So on our agenda today, we will provide an overview of LEAP and our summer programming, and then introduce our UBC panelists, have the panel discussion, and finish off with our Q&A. So LEAP is a nonprofit student-led organization that helps high school students ease their transition to post-secondary through initiatives such as webinars, the mentorship program, and resources, and we have impacted around 10,000 students. You can learn more about LEAP and how to get involved at www.leapcanada.org. And if you're looking to learn more about the industries you're interested in, such as business, health sciences, design and media, or engineering, and gain valuable skills, make sure to check out our Pathfinder program. It will happen in August with panels, workshops, live presentations, and there are great prizes, so make sure to sign up. And also, by attending this webinar, you're automatically entered into our Brownie Points giveaway. There are $400 worth of prizes to be won, so come out to as many webinars as you can, ask all the questions you have, and fill out the feedback forms to earn more points. Okay, time to get to know our panelists. I'm going to pass it off to Amy to introduce herself.
All right, hey everyone. So I'm Amy, and I'm currently in my second year at UBC, and I'm studying commerce, and I'm hoping to major in some combination of real estate, accounting, and global supply chain management. And currently I'm working at Sauder in the real estate division as part of their academic team.
Thanks, Amy. Next is Rita. So unfortunately, Rita is not here today, so I'm going to pretend to be Rita, but she's going into her second year in science, and she's the Associate Vice President of Finance at UBC Alma Mater Society, a videographer at UBC Science Undergraduate Society, and a freelance digital artist with a dash of UI UX experience. Okay, next, Rosaline.
So hi everyone, I'm Rosaline, but you guys can just call me Rosa. I'm going into my second year as well. I'm planning on dual majoring in psychology and political science and some other extracurricular activities. I'm a human resources executive for the UBC Esports Association, also an academic support coordinator for the Arts Undergrad Society. I'm a member of parliament for BC Youth Parliament, and I love windsurfing and sailing.
Next, our last panelist is Shub.
Hey guys, my name is Shub. I just completed my second year this April. I'll be going into co-op starting this September. Right now, I'm working at Tap and Barrel as a line clerk, I just got an internship at a startup company in the US, and I also got into the executive team at the Computer Science Student Society at UBC.
Great, thanks everyone. So for our panelist discussion today, we will talk about some UBC things to start off, and then academics, clubs and ECs, residents, and then end off with financial aid. So our first question is, why did you choose UBC? Amy can start us off.
Yeah, so for me, it's kind of like two parts. First part is like, I live in Vancouver, so I grew up here. And then my siblings went to UBC and a lot of my friends went. So it's kind of like an obvious choice as a front runner. But also because I was interested in business, and UBC offers a lot of like unique things such as the Bucks program, which is the business and computer science major. And they also have like things, the global supply chain and logistics management, which lets you do half of your major internationally in Denmark and in China, I believe. So that's really cool. And they also have departments such as the real estate division where you can get licensed separate from your major. So yeah, all of these like different opportunities kind of drew me to UBC, and that's why I picked it.
For sure. You guys also are super lucky with the beaches too. So Rita says that aside from its stellar academic reputation and focus on a holistic undergraduate experience, UBC is located on the West Coast, which has great weather throughout the four seasons, although they do have their fair shares of rainy days. And she grew up in BC, so staying close to home allowed her to focus on exploring academic and extracurricular opportunities rather than having to adjust to a completely new environment, especially during the pandemic. Okay, moving on to the next question. How is the social life, environment, and culture like at UBC and in Vancouver? Amy.
Yeah, so it's like the effort you put in and the people you surround yourself with will kind of define your experience. And I'll speak like more specifically on culture environment related to solder. So if you're making business, solder has like the reputation of solder snakes, which I'm sure a lot of people have heard. And I think you'll like, I've never met anyone like that, but I think no matter what faculty you're in, there's always going to be people who are going to like go that extra mile and do the most to kind of achieve their goals. But I think in solder specifically, everyone kind of gets a LinkedIn account, and when all of your accomplishments are listed out there for everyone to see, like you kind of can't help but compare with other people. But yeah, everyone I know, they work hard and they try to do their best to achieve their goals, but they also know how to have fun. So would I say it's like a competitive environment? Yes, but I also don't think it's necessarily like a bad thing.
For sure. Thanks, Amy. Yeah, Rita says that Vancouver is a great place for doing things outside of your typical school setting. You can go up to Whistler during winter break for ski or snowboarding trips, down to English Bay during the summer, and visit downtown to get food with friends and to attend concerts. She would say UBC's culture is pretty well balanced, and students work hard and play hard. As for competition, it really varies based on the people you surround yourself with. The majority of the new friends she met during her first year were quite supportive and really motivated her to become a better version of herself, which I completely agree with. Okay, academics. So what are some specific bird courses for first years and some notable professors? Rosaline, want to start us off?
Yeah, so I guess I'm part of the Faculty of Arts, so I guess in terms of good first year courses, my program was a little bit different, so I guess more on that later, but one that stood out to me was Psychology 102, specifically with Professor Darko Odik. He made the course really interesting, so if you're ready into psychology, then you'll definitely enjoy this course, and if you're sort of like thinking about it or just want a fun elective, I would definitely recommend Psych 102.
For sure. Shab, what about you?
Yes. So if you're going to take math, which most of the people in science usually do, math 100 with Prof. Dragers, that's related to engineering, math related to engineering. That course is pretty nice. The professor teaches that course really well. And Com Sci 110 with Professor Gregor is also really reputed. And in economics, there's Professor Gateman. He's one of the most renowned professors in the arts faculty. So if you're taking economics, be sure make sure to take economics courses with Professor Gateman.
It's great to hear. Okay, moving on. Next, how was your program in terms of difficulty, Rosaline?
Yeah, so like I just mentioned, so enter the arts program as well as I believe in the science faculty. There's certain coordinated arts programs or coordinated science programs that which you can take in your first year, and these basically let you try a lot of different things within your chosen stream, and it lets you sort of figure out if you're unsure about what you want to major in, or you're sort of sure but you want to explore a lot of different paths and to figure out what major you want for your career choice. I would definitely recommend this program. It gives you a lot of introductory courses for things like anthropology for the program. I chose the law and society stream, so I definitely learned about how the world interacts with the laws that we create. And so I personally didn't find it too difficult, considering that they were all 100 level courses. So entry first year level courses, they were definitely really interesting. And I definitely enjoyed being able to try all these different courses. So in terms of difficulty, I'd say it was pretty manageable.
Yeah, CAP sounds super cool. I felt like a lot of students would be interested. And Chubb?
Yes. So I am majoring in computer science from the Faculty of Sciences. There's also majoring in computer science from the Faculty of Arts. I can only speak about majoring from the Faculty of Science into computer science. I'd say that almost almost all the courses first year, definitely if there's two routes to go into the computer science major. First is computer science 103 and 107. That is an easier route, or the equivalent to both those courses is computer science 110. So that is the harder route. I took that route, and I'd say almost all the computer science courses are pretty difficult except computer science 210 and computer science 103. Except those, all of the first year and second year computer science courses are pretty tough. But yeah, that's it.
Thanks, guys. Moving on, how was UBC learning online? Rosaline?
Yeah, so I believe this September we'll be going to in-person classes, so hopefully you won't have to experience the full online first year experience, but learning online was really interesting. It was really different from high school learning online, I'd say. Definitely a lot of Canvas, Zoom, Slack, Blackboard Collaborate, a lot of different programs. So it's definitely a little bit of a pain to have to manage and keep track of all these different apps and softwares and tools. But when you get used to it, you sort of get into a rhythm of things, and it's not too bad. So making sure that you're organized and keeping track of all these different, all your different courses and all your different assignments is definitely really important. But I'd say it was pretty good. I'd say all the professors and the clubs and whatnot were able to make the most of it.
Nice. And Shub, how was online learning for you?
Yes, so I started my first year started in September 2019. The online classes started from 2020 March, I think. Yeah, and around that time when it started, I had 2 months left for the semester to get over. So I'd say the transition was really rough because all the professors, I'll be really honest with you guys. The transition was really rough at that time because the professors were just adjusting from the offline environment that they always have been used to an online learning environment. From an offline to an online learning environment, and that was pretty rough on the students. And on most of them, I didn't learn much around that time in my first year at the end. But now the online learning experience is way better. And I think as you guys are coming in, most of the courses will be in person, so you'll have a really great time.
Yeah, hopefully like this year will be a lot better since most classes are in person. Okay, moving on to clubs and ECs. So what is your involvement in clubs, extracurriculars, and sports during the first 2 years? Amy?
Yeah, so I'll speak more on the co-op first and I'll move into this. So for co-op opportunities at UBC, I think for most faculties, but I know for Sauder, you can't apply until you're in your second or third year. So it's kind of not an option in your first. But aside from that, you can look for other opportunities on things like Careers Online, which is UBC's job board, or Cool, which is for Sauder students only. And on there, you'll find tons of internships and jobs, or WorkLearn is another great opportunity where you get paid to work and learn, and you get like an hours cap. So it really helps you balance your studies. And another thing is the MyTax business strategy internship, where it pays you, I think 10 grand for the summer, and it's like a partially funded one. So that's a really great opportunity to check out. And for my involvement, I would recommend doing like 2 clubs, one that's kind of for fun, like a hobby or a sports, like a something that you're like passionate about, and it's a great way to meet people. And another one that's more focused on your career advancement and your major. So like a accounting club or like a marketing club, stuff like that. Something that's more, I guess, academic and major focused. And if you kind of don't know what you want to do, definitely check out like clubs as a general member, and that can kind of help you figure out what you want and what you don't want to do in your future. And the last option that I think is really good is to do case competitions. So it's open to everyone, but I think most of them are catered towards more business topics. And it's a great way to kind of transfer your classroom knowledge into some like real world application. And if you win, there's like usually pretty big cash prizes as well. So yeah, I think that's kind of the thing that I really liked, because you get prizes for doing well, you know.
Yeah, there's so many clubs in uni, so I'm sure like everyone will find 1 or 2 clubs that you're super interested in. And then Rita says that UBC AMS hosts Clubs Day every year, where students can learn more about the clubs, sports teams, and other extracurriculars that are available to them. And each faculty also has their own student government, like their undergraduate society, I think, that students can get involved in. So she definitely recommends first attending the clubs or teams as general members, and perhaps you'll even find one that you would want to take more initiative. Yeah, so first year internship research opportunities. Amy.
Yeah, so I kind of spoke on part of this earlier. There's like tons of opportunities in job boards. You just gotta go and look, and you gotta like be persistent because you're gonna get like a lot of rejections no matter how good your resume is, and you just gotta be prepared for that. It doesn't matter how good you were in high school, like trust me, I know. Yeah, so don't give up. So check out all of these opportunities and just keep on applying. And if like another option for you guys is if you're interested in pursuing accounting as your major, you can also look into Spring Recruit. So for a summer internship, you apply in April, and that's kind of the hiring process. So most people will tell you to start networking and prepping for your interview as soon as January, just because of how, I guess, like competitive it is. So yeah, so start earlier to give yourself that kind of edge.
Mm-hmm. And then Rita says that for most of the science majors, co-op is only available for you in your second or third year. However, there are additional undergraduate internships and research opportunities depending on what you're studying. Perfect. And then residence. So what was your residence experience like at UBC? I know that Rosaline is a commuter, so I guess this question is for Shub.
Yes. So I stayed in first year residency for 6 months because the last 2 months I went back home. But the first year experience was really nice. I personally am a vegetarian. I do not eat meat, and there was so much accommodation for all the different dietary restrictions for vegans, for vegetarians, for meat eaters. They had all the options available in all the 3 dining halls in Plaza Vani, in Totem Park, and in Orchard Commons. Those are the 3 first year residences. But the food, I like the food really nice. I like the food a lot, but most of my friends did not like the food, but they do eat meat and I don't eat meat. Maybe that's why the vegetarian food there was really nice. But if you're a picky eater, then there might be some issues, but they have a lot of options too. So it's mostly good, but it depends. It's a personal thing. Depends. I love the food though. Yeah, the food options were nice.
And then push up again. Any tips for moving away from home?
Yes. So this was my first time in North America. My home country is India. I came from India in August 2019, and I came here with my mom. And I usually am a pretty homesick child. I can't stay away from home that long. But I came with my mom. She helped me settle in. And when you come to UBC, definitely attend the Jumpstart program, because that definitely helps you building up your connections in UBC, and you make really good friends. And that's one of the main reasons why I did not feel homesick, because I made so many friends. I was with them all the time after Jumpstart. So that's my main tip for not feeling homesick. But if you do feel homesick, definitely reach out to professors, reach out to your RAs. Your RAs are the upper year students who live in your residency on your floor. They'll help you throughout your first year journey.
Yeah, sounds like a super supportive community.
Yes.
All right, next. A question regarding transportation. So how's it like getting around campus? What about for commuters, and like any recommendations? Rosalie, you want to start us off?
Yeah, so personally, if any of you guys are like in the Vancouver area, I live in Richmond, so it's like an hour to 2 hours sometimes if the traffic is really bad, like commute from the city to the UBC campus. So personally, like going there with friends, I think it's definitely worth considering, just like getting to campus, like when are you going to wake up, when you want to be home by, and thinking about like which way you're going as well in the different buses. There is a rapid bus directly to UBC from the SkyTrain station, which is really cool. So keep that in mind, but also just getting around campus as well. Like during online classes, all we have to do is Alt-Tab to get to the next class. But now when we're in person, you have to consider how far one class is from the next class, and keeping in mind, we have like 10 minutes, I believe, if your classes are like scheduled back to back on the SSC. And so definitely like there's the room available when you book the course. So make sure you like look this up, plug into Google Maps, and make sure you check and make sure you have enough time to commute. So yeah, I'm definitely going to bring like a bike or something with me so that I can commute between classes that might be a little further.
Oh yeah, bike is definitely a great idea, especially like when the weather is nice. Shel, do you have anything you would like to add?
I personally I have a bicycle, and I have a skateboard. So I use my skateboard sometimes to travel in my first year. But I feel like walking was the best option because though the classes are pretty far, it helps you getting fit. Because if you don't take the uh, bicycle or the scooter, you'll walk like 10,000 steps a day easily. So that's a good way to stay fit, I think.
Great. And our final question, what are some resources both externally and at UBC? Amy?
Yeah, really quickly before I jump into this question, just want to add something for commuters. You can check out UBC Collegia. It's designated for first year commuters, and they have spaces like a kitchen, shower spots, lockers, study spaces, and stuff like that. So if you sign up for Jumpstart, I believe you're guaranteed a spot. But even if you didn't sign up, check it out. It's made for you guys, so take advantage of it. But yeah, about resources both externally, externally and internally. So you can check out UBC Student Services website. Just Google like UBC financial aid, scholarship, stuff like that. And the website will pop up and it kind of has all your options laid out. And another thing is to contact your enrollment services advisor. So they should have like emailed you first, and they can help you out with any questions or direct you to someone who is more qualified to answer. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. So thank you guys so much for your amazing responses. We will now go to our Q&A period. So go ahead and ask your questions in the chat. I'll just wait a couple of minutes. Okay, here, I see one right now. So what was the application process to UBC like? Is there anything to keep in mind of?
Yes, I can add to that. So I think the main confusion that I had was that I was trying to declare my major when I was choosing my in my application. I was trying to declare a major, but I couldn't. I could just choose the Faculty of Science. So that's a different. That's one of the differences between UBC and some other universities, where you declare your major after your second year, after your third year, depends upon your program. If you're in arts, you declare a major after your second year finishes. If you're in science, you declare your major after your first year finishes. So your major is the subject that you're specializing in. I'm majoring in computer science from the Faculty of Science. So I'm majoring in computer science and I declared that after my first year. So in my application process, I just chose that I want to be in the Faculty of Sciences so that I can get into computer science through Faculty of Sciences.
Awesome. Next question. What are tips to write your personal profile?
I think the biggest thing is like try to obviously show what you're good at. But I guess in a way, don't say like generic things like, oh, I'm really hardworking or I'm like good at time management, stuff like that. Like try to show it through your experiences. And always like try to pick diverse experiences. So if you have like something sports, you have something work related, something volunteer, try to like pick different ones so it kind of makes you appear more well-rounded. And I think another big thing is you're gonna like your friends are gonna ask you, oh, can you proofread mine? And you're like, oh, proofread mine too. So I think the biggest thing is to stay true to yourself and don't get too many people to proofread it because it's just gonna sound super generic after like too many people go through and like make edits. So yeah, try to keep your voice like to your own. Personally, I only had like 3 people, like one of my friends who's like, good at writing, and I had a teacher and I had just someone else proofread it. So keep, I guess, your proofreading circle small so it still sounds like you and it doesn't like get blended into like the pile of generic responses.
Yeah, I just like to add on to that. I definitely agree. Like, keep your own personal voice. You know yourself best. You know how diverse you can be. Like Amy has said, try to be like as wide as possible. Like universities, UBC in general, and I think a lot of other universities, they don't just want to see that. Oh, let's say you're going to be a science major. They see like all the science extracurriculars and activities you've done. That's great, but they want to see that you're well-rounded. They want to see that you've been doing creative stuff, like active stuff, helping your community, things like that. So definitely do that. And personal advice as well, just for like this application, as well as other applications in general, like phrasing things in a story was definitely something that helped me out. I sort of phrased it in a way where I was like growing as a person to eventually reach UBC, like through volunteering at my school and my extracurriculars. So that's some advice that I'd share for the personal profile as well.
Hey, I think Kathy dropped or like her Wi-Fi cut out. But I'll just go ahead and answer the next question. Workload in the BCom program. So yeah, I'm currently in the BCom program and I don't think it's that bad. But I think it's like my tip is to find people that you can work with, like do the homework assignments together, because sometimes like when you have a really dry professor or stuff like that, you'll zone out, and when you do the homework you can be like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do this. So if you have friends, you can kind of help each other out and stuff like that. But work, like in terms of the workload itself, I think it's very, very reasonable. Just try your best not to leave your assignments to the last minute. Like I did, and it was not that good. But yeah, try your best to start it ahead of time, so you know it doesn't build up. Yeah.
Okay, and what was the question afterwards?
So someone's asking what are the differences between the two campuses?
Did you guys go to UBCO or UBC Vancouver?
I'm Vancouver campus.
Same.
Yeah, okay. I guess like I think from what I know, the Vancouver campus is just bigger in general, just with the amount of people, as well as I think the programs and faculties it offers, if I'm not mistaken. But other than that, I think they're pretty similar. I'm not sure if you guys have anything else to add in that retrospect.
Yeah, I've heard like from my friends at UBCO, it's like a bit more tight knit there just because of the campus is a bit smaller. But I think the biggest thing is like the size and the faculties and like the majors that are offered at each campus.
Yeah, and it's also, I think Vancouver is a bit more lively because there's downtown Vancouver and there's a lot of pubs and places you can go to and have a good time. But yeah, it's mostly similar. The next question. Yeah.
Kathy has lost internet connection, so just for now, I'll be taking over as host. But yeah, we can keep moving into questions. I think next one, what was the hardest adjustment from high school to university?
I think the hardest, go
ahead.
So yeah, so in high school, when you finish high school, you come to your home, your mom cooks your food, they clean for you, they do everything for you. Your washroom is all clean, your clothes are all set up. When you come to university, you have to do your own laundry. If you live on campus, if you're a commuter and if you go to your house, that's a different case. But if you live on campus, then you need to do your own laundry. You need to go and actually eat food, because I had many friends in first year who forgot to eat food because the food wasn't brought to them, like it was done at their house. But you definitely have to take care of yourself, and you have to be a bit more mature. I'd say that's the main difference between high school and university.
Yeah, I think for me the hardest adjustment was that like you literally have to take control of your learning, because at least for my classes, like the deadlines were really weird and the teachers wouldn't remind you about them. So like say I have a class Friday morning, but I would have a quiz due like Thursday at 7 p.m. or like morning at like 7 a.m. And it's like just really weird times. And I had assignments due like 10 p.m. and not like, you know, midnight, which is kind of like what you're used to in high school or like you can bring in class. So yeah, keeping track of your deadlines because they're different for every class, and sometimes they're due like 2 days before the class or like the day of, and it's like different depending on the professor. So I think that was my hardest adjustment. And the teachers will remind you, so it's, it's really up to you to stay on top of things.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, keep love to hear some more advice.
Yeah, I just agree. Like taking initiative is super, super important. Like the office hours are available, the resources are available, but like they're not fed to you. You have to go out and get them this time. So definitely take initiative. Like Amy said, like you got to make sure you plan out and schedule your time well. So yeah, don't be afraid to like go out and put yourself out there.
Perfect. That's such great advice. Next question. Someone's asking, if you do co-op for a science major, does it take one additional year to graduate, or is there a specific schedule to finish the program in 4 years? So maybe someone could touch on how that co-op system works.
Yes. So if you're doing a co-op in science, for most of the specializations, the co-op starts after your second year, and it definitely adds another year to your whole degree. So my whole degree was for 4 years, but now as I'm doing co-op, my whole degree has stretched out to 5 years, and I'm doing so. The co-op that I am required to fulfill is 16 months of co-op. I'll do 12 months of co-op from the coming September to next September. And then I'll do the rest 4 months between my third and fourth year, the summer break between my third and fourth year. So it depends upon your specialization. Some specializations require co-op to be done for 12 months. My computer science specialization required me to do co-op for 16 months. So it definitely adds another year to your degree.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Sorry to jump in. I think we missed the question from Hanor asking what was everyone's extracurriculars in high school?
Oh yes, I was actually just about to get to that. So perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so anyone is free to take that.
Do you guys want to go first? Or?
Yeah, so I did APs. I like checked my faculty, checked my major. I'm like, what APs can I do in high school? So I did AP micro and AP macro, and I did AP calculus because those are kind of like the options you have for business. And I found it really helpful because it decreased my like workload, and I got to take more electives, or I actually took some second year courses to line like my workload for this year. Yeah, and I think high school courses is definitely easier than university. So if you can do AP, then I suggest you take it. But yeah.
Yeah, I can go next. High school, I didn't do AP, I did IB, which is basically like the same sort of idea, just advanced courses, which can also get you university credits. I also spent a lot of time volunteering, and that sort of helped me like branch out and try a lot of different things, and sort of like also added a lot to like my resume and my personal profile, because I had so much to pick from, and they really helped me be able to not just like focus on like whatever which I was interested in, which at the time I was really interested in like marketing, but I also had so many other activities like youth parliament, which I was able to touch on for like my interest in political science as well. So yeah, a lot of volunteering, a lot of academics for IB.
Yes. So I personally did in Indian education system, so that you do not get any credits towards your university. So I came here without any credits, and my the activities that I did, as Rosaline touched on, you definitely need to volunteer, because UBC loves to see volunteer experiences in your resume. So having volunteering in your resume is really nice. And if you plan to go into a specific program, let's say I was planning into going into computer science, right? So you can make some project or show some initiative that shows to the university that you're actually interested in the thing you're applying for. So that increases the chances of getting to the university.
Sounds great. Yeah, getting involved can only do good for you. Okay, next question. Would you suggest joining undergrad societies? And more specific question, I've heard and read that SUS, not sure what that is clique. Are undergraduate societies clique and a good extracurricular?
So I can only speak for science undergraduate society. But the science undergraduate, I'm not a part of, like, everyone is a part, every science student is a part of science undergraduate society. But if you want specific exec roles or specific roles in the internal team, which looks into the working of the faculty of science, then I'd say from what I've heard, everyone's really welcoming, and you get to learn a lot. If you want to take part in your undergrad society of your faculty, I would definitely recommend it. I have a few friends who are in arts undergrad society, and they look over all the events, or the events that the society holds each year. But it's a worth it experience, and I'd recommend it.
Yeah, I'll just add on because I'm in the Arts Undergrad Society. Honestly, I'd say it doesn't hurt to join it, even if it is cliquey. It's just, I guess, just volunteering. So you can always find people who aren't part of these cliques and be able to connect with them. From the Arts Undergrad Society, at least from my perspective, it's been really welcoming. Everyone who has worked with has really genuinely cared about the Arts Undergrad Society students. So I'd say it doesn't hurt. You can feel free to apply, and you can always talk to people if you don't feel comfortable. But I'd say go for it. I think it's worth joining.
Yeah, and I can speak about like the CUS, so the Commerce Undergrad Society. I think, yeah, like I completely agree with what these people said, but I think you also have to be aware it's a pretty big time commitment. So make sure you're ready to commit, because since it's an undergrad society, it's a touch more formal. So you got to be like ready 100% to commit. Yeah.
Oh, sounds good. Really good information. Next question. What is something you guys regret not doing in high school?
I'd say maybe, see, in my opinion, I think university life is way better than high school life. And I personally love university life way more. It's not that I didn't enjoy high school, but this is way more freedom in university, and you get to learn a lot. You get to make tons of mistakes. You get to learn so much. You get to meet so many people. So I'd say the only thing that I regret is I should have spent more time with quality friends and spent more time with my family back in high school.
Yeah, I think the two things is like, number one, spend more time with your close friends, because like as close as you are with your high school friends, you're only going to talk to like maybe 5 or 6 of them once you go into university, just because you meet new people and some friends will leave and stuff like that. But the other thing is like I would say go out of your comfort zone. So if there's something like, say you want to join a sports team, but like you're not 100% confident in your skills, like just do it. It's your last year, and I feel like it's easier to like embarrass yourself in high school than when you're older. So anything you want to do, like literally just go do it. Like after you leave high school, people are going to forget about it, or no one's really going to care that much. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, pretty much what Shub and Amy said. Being able to like just put yourself out there, because there's so many organizations who would like specifically target high school students, which you can join and which you can participate in. And there's so many different things you can try. So go for it in high school. Another thing I wish I did more was a little bit more research on the available like programs and like possibilities that I could study and career options that I could take going to UBC and my other like universities that I was interested in, because I sort of felt like I was behind when some of my friends were doing a lot of like their lower level requirements in first year and going to second year, whereas I was sort of just like trying a lot of different things. So I guess do a lot of research, make sure you don't have to know what you're doing, but like have a general idea. I guess that would be my regret.
Oh, perfect. I was just finishing grade 12. Those are all amazing tips for surviving the end of high school. On to our next question. This was kind of fun. What are you most looking forward to when in-person learning commences again?
Okay, I'll be honest, I feel like I'm gonna miss online learning, because when you're hopping from Zoom call to Zoom call, it's like really quick, but in person you gotta walk across campus and stuff like that. But I think what I'm looking forward to most is that kind of natural interaction with other people. So like small talk with people. Like, in class, you can talk to people beside you, but on Zoom, like if you say something, you gotta talk to your entire class. You can't like, talk to one person. Yeah, I think that's what I'm looking forward to most, just like that natural interaction with your friends.
What I'd say was having experience in offline learning in my first year and online learning in my second year. I think that offline learning was like there's not even any comparison between offline learning and online learning. It was so much better offline learning because right now definitely there's it's really convenient for you to just switch between Zoom calls, and that's really a big pro. But when you get to meet new people in every single class, is like 100 people, and you don't sit at the same seat every single time. You get to meet, literally you get to talk in every single class to new people around you. So it's definitely a great way to make new friends and expand your network that way. But yeah, I'd say look forward to having less social distancing that you've experienced in the past year.
Yeah, definitely agreed. Like, sort of on that note, I think I just look forward to the sort of atmosphere because, when you're sitting at your computer taking classes and like in your room, you sleep, you eat, you play, and you work all in the same space. It kind of like blurred everything together, at least for me personally. So being able to like designate like my home space as my home space, and then going to university where everyone's sort of focused on learning and like meeting new people and having fun, I think that atmosphere will be really nice.
Oh, yes. Fingers crossed that the fall goes well and we'll all be back to normal soon. Next question. What is the transferring process like between the two campuses?
I don't know if Shu or Amy, you guys have transferred, but this is like my second year at the same campus, so I can't really speak to that.
Yeah, I've never transferred, but I did help out a friend when they were like doing the transferring process. I can kind of speak about it. I think the biggest thing is plan ahead, like make sure you meet the credits. Like you got to do them in the winter term, you can't do them in the summer. Meet the credits, meet the grades, and make sure you get the deadlines, because if you miss them, it's like there's no grace period. Like if you miss it, you miss it, and you got to wait for another year. But yeah, I think the biggest part is like you got to be patient. I think you can apply, but you don't hear back till pretty late in the summer. So yeah.
Yes, I'd like to add a bit to that. I did not take a transfer, but I've seen people who have transferred. And the most crucial advice that I would say to people who want to transfer is just keep your grades as high as you can, because the higher your grades are, the easier it is for you to transfer, and the easier the Senate approves your transfer from one campus to the other. And as Amy said, please look at the deadlines, because it's really easy to get caught up in the moment and lose sight of the date and when you have to apply and what's the deadline. So keep track of the deadlines and get as good grades as you can in your first year if you want to transfer.
Sounds great. Okay, another application question. What do you all think made your UBC application stand out?
I guess I can go first. I think I touched on it briefly earlier, but I think the amount of volunteering I had and the fact that there was all like diverse, like I think like my extracurricular activities, like they ask you to put in like some volunteering stuff, some hobbies, some creative stuff. And I think I had a pretty solid like option for every single one of them. And that was probably just because I did so much of it and I had so much to choose from. So I think that would probably be what made mine stand out.
Yeah, my answer would be like kind of similar to Rosaline. I like tried to show them like, look at me, I'm well-rounded, I'm doing all of these like different things, and I'm not like, super structured. But I think at the same time, like you gotta find the balance. You can't be like every other sentence bring up like a new thing that you're doing, because then you just kind of sound all over the place. So when you're writing your personal profile, I think read the question and pick the experience that fits it most. But you can also kind of like subtle flex small things. Like it's like, oh, from the skills I learned at like this experience, I was able to transfer them to like any of your overarching themes. So yeah, subtle flex in your personal profile, but make sure you keep it structured in the sense that it flows well and it's not all over the place.
And in my personal profile, I'll definitely say whatever volunteering experience you have, just put it on there. For me, I was a volunteer at blood donation camps, and that one of the volunteering experiences was that, but that was, I think, the one that stood out the most. And as Amy said, you should have something that's related to the field that you're going into. So I was planning to go into computer science. I helped my friend make a Java application, so I wrote that into my resume when applying for UBC. But definitely, UBC does not expect you to have everything in your resume. Just make it so that they know that you're interested in what you're doing and you are contributing to the society as by volunteering.
Perfect. Our next question is also a bit application related. So just for the sake of time, I'm going to head over to what is the best thing or your favorite thing about UBC?
The best thing that I can say about UBC Vancouver is that everyone is super welcoming, and there are a ton of clubs where you can do literally anything. There's mountains all around you, there's ocean all around you, there's groups for hiking, there's groups for cycling, there's groups for exercising, working out, weightlifting, everything. So it's a really extracurricular oriented, or also extracurricular oriented university, along with academics, obviously. But it's a really diverse school where you meet people from every single place in the world, and that's my favorite thing about UBC.
Yeah, I would agree. I was gonna say the community, so that she basically touched on what I was gonna say. But yeah, like the fact that there's like so many people who are interested, there will likely be a lot of people who are interested in the same thing that you are, like whatever it is, whether it's like some just hobby or a sport or whatever it is, you'll find like a group of people, whether it's like a club or like an online forum or like a group that is also interested and will welcome you and will like you will be able to form connections with these people. Like I just think the UBC community is so welcoming, and it's really nice to be in a university where everyone sort of has the same like-minded drive to succeed academically and extracurriculars and just have fun.
My favorite thing, I think, is just like the people you meet. Because I went to like a pretty small high school, so going to UBC where there's like tons of people, you get to meet like so many more friends. You get to meet your friends with like similar interests as you, or like similar career paths, or like what they hope to do in their life. So being able to like find someone and you can like talk about all of these like similar interests is really, really nice.
Oh, that sounds so great. Okay, next question. Is there a lot of workload pressure, and are the deadlines reasonable to complete assignments on time?
I think the deadlines are completely reasonable, but it's up to you because at least for my classes, the teachers released all of the assignments like 2 months in advance, but I didn't do it till like, a week or like a couple of days before the deadline. So yes, it's completely reasonable, but like you gotta start early so that they don't build up. And if you start early, you can always bring your work to your TA or sometimes like your prof if they're open to it, and get them to review and be like, how can I improve this, or here's a draft, does this kind of meet like the assignment standards and expectations. So yeah, everything is reasonable, but it's up to you, like can you stay on top of your work and time manage well.
Yes,
You can go for
agreed.
it, Christy.
Okay. Yeah, basically what Amy said, I think personally, especially during since my first year was completely online, a lot of the professors were super, super accommodating. Like one of them, I pretty much some of the midterms were even optional. They can be really accommodating. You just gotta plan out your time well. I think for the most part, it definitely depends on your professor. Some are a lot more kind when you're late, and some are a lot stricter on their deadlines. But yeah, generally they're very reasonable. So just manage your time well and you'll be fine.
Yes, that is a really big part of succeeding at university, is managing your time well. I'd say that almost all the courses have a really well planned out structure, a really well planned deadlines. But I'd say I'd go as far as saying 85% of the students do not do that well because they underestimate the amount of workload for a particular assignment or something, and they start late. That's what you do not need to do. start as soon as you can on any assignment, and you'll be fine.
Okay, sounds perfect. We are coming up to the end of our webinar. So I think that'll be the end of our questions for tonight, but thank you so much for asking.